Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. I want to start on the daily time frame, then we take a look at the microstructures. Here, the only other thing I wanted to show you on the daily time frame is the pathway for the yellow wave count, which is short-term bearish. It's not the end of the world, okay? But I have to say it again clearly. If we break below the August low, then yes, it would still be considered first a wave 4. If I zoom out, then you see this is sort of the roadmap we've been tracking, right? From the November 22 low, wave 1 to the upside, wave 2 to the downside, wave 3 to the upside, wave 4, which could just go a little bit lower in the orange support region, and then a fifth wave up. Still possible, yeah, and still would be my preferred scenario. I have to say, however, that if we break below the August low, it would open the door for more bearish interpretations. But it will also depend on whether we hold 43K, which is the 50% retracement, and it will depend on whether we can fill in a healthy structure to the downside, what the RSI does at the time. So it's going to be, it will depend on how the move down is happening. So we will have a close look. If it happens, then I'm not going to confirm a bear market, but obviously it will mean we are still correcting, right? And it would open the door for a more severe drop. I have to warn, if I wouldn't do that, if I wasn't doing that, I wouldn't do my job. So that's the thing. So don't panic. I mean, essentially it's all about understanding that we haven't got a confirmed low in place. The 5th of August low is not a confirmed low at this stage. The movement from the low is corrective, but I just wanted to share with you the 43K is key support should the yellow count be followed. It does still work quite well in terms of wave 2, wave 4, even if it goes a little lower, and then a fifth wave could still happen. So I just wanted to mention that. If we see that C wave to the downside, I'm talking about circle C of Y of 4 in yellow, the 100% extension of the A wave down, circle A, and well, that's pointing to 45,670. That is an ideal target for wave C, and that is pretty much in the middle of that support region, which is pretty good. I'd be concerned if the 100% extension level was, for example, located down here, then this, let's say, still bullish scenario would have a low chance of following through, turning around then. It still has a chance. It still would likely be the preferred scenario, the bullish count, but in this case, short-term bearish, as long as we're holding support. And because the 100% extension points towards that level, it actually has a decent chance of still following through. So don't be too bearish, but short-term, obviously, we have to consider we have those short-term bearish setups that could be followed and that might drive the price into that support region. What's the story here? I mean, essentially, we had this dip on the 5th of August. The rally from that low has been corrective, which means that at best we can consider a diagonal pattern to the upside here, which was the right decision to track that, because diagonals mean we have to be on the side of caution. They have a higher failure rate, and that's also why I said throughout the last few weeks, the structure is very fragile. Be also prepared for another drop. Nobody should be surprised if the yellow scenario is playing out. And just be prepared for it, right? It's not confirmed yet, but we have to prepare for it because there is a setup. A setup has no guarantee of being followed through, as you know very well, but it is something then that is a warning, something that puts us on high alert, okay? Now, what is that bearish setup? We can see that on the smaller time frame. Before we go to the smaller time frame chart, quick reminder, I uploaded today a video on Twitter, only on Twitter, about TON. You guys voted for that on Twitter. That's uploaded now. And I also uploaded a second one, Tau. They haven't been uploaded on YouTube. They are just available on Twitter. You'll find the links in the description if you're interested in these coins. I know a lot of you are, because they have been requested. Looking at the microstructures, what are those bearish setups? Those of you who watched the previous videos know about these. So we have a 5-wave move down. Oh, not that tool. Didn't want to pick that. We have a 5-wave move down. We had a 3-wave rally. Another 5-wave move down. Another 3-wave rally. And I mean, it could be that here this yellow circle 2 is still unfolding. essentially we have 5 wave movements to the downside, 2 or 3 of them, and that is not bullish. And that just at least puts me on high alert and means that there are a couple of bearish setups that could play out. So the first one is here now a corrective rally, but then this wave 2 could form a top and then break down in wave 3 here towards 56,680 maybe early next week. Now this scenario, and some people ask me why, why am I short-term bearish? I'm just, I'm following these. There's only a setup. So all I'm doing, I'm not calling a drop into the 40K region. I make you aware of the risk, okay? That's the difference. I'm not someone who's trying to, let's say, predict markets. I'm not someone who tries to pretend he has a crystal ball, right? So this is professional technical analysis. I give you support levels, resistances. I teach you and explain the market structure. And there is a bearish setup, and that could easily be invalidated, okay? We don't know that, yeah? We never know what the market is going to do. There are tendencies we can identify, and the tendency is that there are bearish setups, and the market could easily drop. It just warns you, makes you aware of the risk, and it also tells you what would need to happen to invalidate these bearish setups. So essentially it means that it takes a break above the initial resistance zone, 60,640, which by the way could easily be tested again. I think we might be doing that. That's why I showed you that roadmap here to the upside in the previous video, and we might be on our way a little higher. We'll see. But essentially it means as long as we stay below 60,640, there is a lot of downside pressure and the bears could follow through on the setup. Now, if we break above 60,640, it would make circle 2 less likely, but it would still allow for a larger wave 2 as highlighted here with resistance at 63,430. So in this resistance area then, the price could again be rejected and start a larger third wave to the downside. These are the 2 bearish setups that there are. In conclusion, a sustained break above 63,430 would make the bearish count less likely and the bulls will start to take control again. That's really what it's about. And you need to be prepared about these levels breaking, but also when they hold and we see some 5 wave movements to the downside again, it would be an early signal that the third wave to the downside has started, and it might take us into that 40K region. So that's essentially what I'm going to watch for late tomorrow. At the moment, it looks a little bit like as if we might go a little higher here, but that there is still a lot of space, even in this bearish setup, for another short-term rally into resistance. That's the update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.